Hi guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be painting a Doberman puppy. I'll leave a link in the description below with a complete list of supplies used in this project. I start by wetting my paints, and then I like to use the wet and wet technique for the initial washes in the dog's body. So with my silver black velvet size 8 round brush, I'm taking clean water and spreading it all around the body of the dog. I like to work in sections. For now, I'm just working on the chest area. I'm mixing a combination of raw umber and burnt sienna for the brown areas that I see in the Doberman's face and chest. And then to make black, I mixed indigo and burnt umber. With the pre-wet paper, the black really softens beautifully all across the surface. You can push and pull the paint around while the paper is still wet, and avoid little areas where you see lighter values in your reference photo. For example, here right on the neck and underneath the mouth, there are these wonderful little wrinkles in the fur, and so I'm avoiding some of those areas that are lighter by pushing the paint right up next to it without completely covering it up. There's also these distinctive brown patches on a Doberman's body. For now, I'm painting around those, and because we're doing wet and wet, it's really soft around those edges. Then working quickly, I take some more raw umber and fill in those little patches completely, very gently dabbing right up next to the black without allowing the water or paint to push around the black. This is important to control how much water you have in your brush to prevent any blooms from happening around those edges. As the black begins to dry a little bit, you can go back in with more layers. You can start adding more distinctive fur texture using a splayed bristle brush technique or using a smaller round brush. There are all different ways to create fur texture, and for more information on painting fur in watercolor, make sure to check out this video. So you can see here I'm continuing to layer more black. As that paint continues to dry, you can just really work on layering and adding more contrast, adding more details. I love this portion of the painting where you've got your first layer in, and now you can just really zero in on all these wonderful, lovely details in the fur. I wasn't too concerned with creating soft edges all the way around because for a Doberman, the fur is really short, and I'm keeping my background white. It's just a black dog against a white background. As those little brown patches in the chest dry, I can go back in with more burnt sienna and add a darker color and more detail. Now I'm moving upward into the head and darkening under the mouth. I'm adding another layer on that little neck with some more vertical brush strokes and a little bit more fur texture one more time in the chest. All of these 3 or 4 layers of paint really add a lot of wonderful depth and variety to the fur. Now moving on to the head, I'm using wet and wet one more time, starting with the area around the nose first that's brown, and then taking my combination of raw umber and burnt sienna once again and just painting that in lightly. It's okay if it's a little blotchy, not perfectly smooth at this stage. And even in this initial wash, you can start to add some of those curved shapes around the muzzle where the whiskers grow from. And in the center of the nose, it's not quite so brown, so I'm mixing in a little bit more of my black combination, which when watered down looks gray. And then I'm beginning to apply a light gray wash all over the head where the fur is black. If you're concerned about starting dark too soon, this is a great way to play it safe, to build up your layers slowly with a light wash first, and while that light wash is still wet, you can start to drop in darker colors, wet and wet, over the top. So you can see I'm building up some midtones really gradually here, wet and wet, with that initial light wash being my base layer first. I'm avoiding the eyes for now and just filling in the nose with a light wash of gray. Now I'm mixing up some dark black again using that same combo of indigo and burnt umber. With the head mostly dry already, we can go back in and paint really dark on those ears. I'm painting wet on dry right now. I don't want this paint to soften out completely. I want my brush strokes to stay where I put them, so whenever that's the case, use wet on dry. There are some sections in the ears that are a little lighter in value than those dark flaps, so just water down your brush slightly, dab on the paper towel, and then fill in those areas with the lighter value. It's actually really rare that I completely rinse out my brush. I only do that when I need to switch colors, but for the most part, I use the water to adjust how light or dark my paint is without completely removing it from the brush, and that's how I can change my values quickly in a painting. I'm re-wetting the top of the head and then applying some dark paint, wet and wet. I've switched to my Lebenzen itty bitty synthetic brush. This one is great for tiny little details. It's one of my favorite detail brushes. And with this, I'm also starting to add fur texture, wet and wet on the top of the head, alternating between dark, light, and mid-tone to adjust for those changing values inside of the head that I see in the reference photo. Generally above and underneath the eyes, you're going to see darker patches of fur, but always be looking closely at your reference to see what's happening with the light and dark. Here in the center of the head, I'm applying a darker gray and then blending that out with a lighter tone as the head begins to turn. Your goal here is to produce the 3D effect of something that is coming forward and receding to really imitate the shape of the skull with your paint. Easier said than done, right? Well, constantly adjust your values. Go darker where you see the darkest shades in your reference photo. In my case, I see a lot of dark tones in the center of the face, and that's almost showing the dip in the skull. Here on the muzzle, I'm using more dry brush techniques, painting wet and dry to produce a little bit of that scrubby texture of the muzzle. Switching back to my larger brush to apply some more brown to the muzzle. Now that this area is dry, we can go back in with more layers. I still want to make sure that some of my lighter values in the muzzle are preserved, so I'm painting around some of those areas, slowing down at this point and just being really careful to get the details right. For those little patches of brown fur above the eye, I'm pretty much just filling those in with a solid color. It's my combination of burnt sienna and raw umber. And then I can darken underneath those little patches with burnt sienna to give them the effect of curved, rounded little patches of fur. And I'm continuing to darken all of the areas that are brown, mostly using burnt sienna at this point. Now this little patch of fur on the chest got a little bit too dark, so I'm lifting the paint back out. A 1/2 inch flat brush works really well if you have nice stiff bristles. That works the best for lifting the paint back out. And then I'm doing the same thing with these little ridges on the muzzle. For the nose, I start with the nostrils, painting as dark as I can. I like to start with these little details that are the darkest. It gives me a point of reference with my values so that I know how to adjust and where to go dark and where to go light in all of the other areas. Now I'm using a little less dark value in the center of the nose and then watering down my paint significantly across the top, being sure to leave little highlights so that the nose looks nice and glistening and moist. There's usually little rims of light underneath each nostril, so be sure to preserve those, paint around them carefully. And then if you want to get some of the texture, that bumpy texture on a dog's nose, you can use a cross-hatching technique. Be sure to use a brush that can hold a nice fine point. Work slowly and carefully and feather your brush delicately. Never press too hard when you're painting details like this. Now we're continuing to layer darker and darker in the face, using midtones going over the top of what we've already painted. If you want to create a rich complexity in your painting, work in layers. This is my absolute favorite way to paint animals. Alright, for the muzzle, I'm using my little Lebenzen brush to paint these tiny little dots. This is where the whiskers grow from. And the whiskers are mostly dark, so I'm just using my black combination, slightly watered down, to paint on these skinny little whiskers. Try to complete each whisker in one swooping motion. Moving on to the right side, I'm painting those the same way. And then darkening wherever needed if I see there's areas that just aren't quite up to the correct value. This is your chance to evaluate and darken where needed. Remember that watercolor always dries lighter, so you'll often be surprised that you have to continually add more layers over the top when you thought you had the values right initially. Sometimes it's easy to misjudge that. For the eyes, I saved these for last. I like to paint the darkest black portions of the eyes first, working really slowly and carefully. I'm actually using a Arteza liner brush for these details now. It holds a little bit more paint and can come to a really tiny point. My combination for black is still indigo and burnt umber, and I'm being very careful to preserve the whites of the eyes, the bright highlights, and the little rim of light that's usually visible underneath the eye. If you have a good drawing to start out with, you can follow your pencil marks carefully, and you shouldn't be too worried about making the dog look cross-eyed or anything like that. So of course, having a good drawing initially is going to help a lot with getting the eyes to look realistic and expressive. Just filling in any other values that need to go a little bit darker. And it's so amazing, once you add the eyes, the puppy just comes to life. Some of these little whiskers are overlapping the chest, so I'm using a little bit of gouache so that we can see that overlap. And there is our finished Doberman puppy. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Check out these other videos about painting animals in watercolor, and I'll see you there.